When calculating stewardship fees, material cost differentiation matters. Every day, product manufacturers, retailers, and other businesses use paper, glass, plastic, and metal to package, market, and deliver goods to Canadians. Across Canada, these businesses pay annual fees to stewardship organizations to cover costs associated with recycling the paper and packaging that ends up in consumers' homes. All recyclable materials have characteristics. Some characteristics are common to all materials, such as weight and volume, and others are unique to a specific material, such as the abrasiveness of glass. These characteristics impact the cost of recycling. Currently, stewardship organizations determine those costs using activity-based costing, or ABC, a method that measures the impact that each type of material has on each activity within the recycling system. This way, the costs of those impacts can be assigned to the materials that generate them. Businesses that pay stewardship fees expect them to be fair and based only on the costs associated with the specific materials they choose to use. To see what we're talking about, let's start where the recycling journey begins. Materials put out for recycling start by getting mixed up with a neighborhood's worth of recycling inside a collection truck. Later, that truck is unloaded at a material recovery facility, or MRF. The mixture is sorted into material-specific categories by a sophisticated system of metal detectors, optical sorters, able human hands, and other sorting equipment. After sorting, many of the recyclables become commodities and are prepared for sale. At each stage in the recycling process, the material's characteristics impact costs. The most significant impact of materials on the cost of recycling is based on quantity and volume, the amount of space the material occupies in the collection system and the MRF. The more space a material occupies, the more it costs. The material's unique characteristics also affect how they are sorted, which can generate unique costs. Time and motion studies are done to measure the impact of each material as it travels through the recycling system. Some of the things that are measured include the length of time it takes to collect materials in the trucks, unload them at the MRF, and return to the curb for more. The time it takes and the methods used to sort the materials at the MRF, and the number of bales created and the length of time it takes to create each one. These measurements are used to determine the costs generated by each specific material. Specific materials can also create specific challenges in collection and processing. Let's take a look at some processing challenges. For example, glass breaks and can mix with other recyclables, and getting it out can be difficult. Glass is also abrasive, which leads to wear and tear on the collection vehicles, processing building, and equipment. Plastic bags and overwrap can get caught up in screens and other moving parts, reducing equipment efficiency or even shutting down operations. Because they are light and flat, these materials can easily get mixed with paper and other product materials, which then requires additional sorting. Some plastic bottles resist compression, so they take extra time to bale for resale. All of these common and unique impacts affect the cost of recycling and the cost attributed to each material, which in turn is used to provide necessary inputs to the fee-setting process. Different materials, different characteristics, different cost impacts. That adds up to material cost differentiation, calculated using ABC studies. It's important because it's fair. Differentiating material costs ensures that each material is fairly assigned a cost based on the impact it generates. As an input into calculating stewardship fees, these costs go back through the fees to the businesses that chose those specific materials for packaging, marketing, and distributing their products to consumers. So ABC works pretty well, but there are challenges. It's becoming increasingly difficult to gain access to the recycling systems to carry out the ABC studies, because in some cases, they're managed by private businesses and the manner in which they conduct their business is proprietary and confidential. We wonder if our current use of ABC is still the best way to differentiate material costs. Or since the mix of materials being recycled is constantly changing, is there a better way? CSSA, together with the packaging and printed paper programs, will be reviewing the ABC study methodology and exploring alternatives. Because fairness matters to the companies that pay the fees to recycle their packaging and paper.